Hello everybody and welcome into Ruff Neck Racing live tonight at the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. Still getting some things set up, first time with these guys, but we are here, we're ready to get rolling. So let's get right down trackside and go through a quick run through of tonight's starting grid. Taking the pole, it's going to be Daniel Falkingham in the 54 car. Kyler Wynn rolls off to his outside in second. Matt Lee, Cody Nagels, two teammates start back in row number 2, and then it's going to be Matthew Baker alongside Michael Triscaro in row number 3. Ethan Eckert, Chris Melton back in row 4. It's Kenny Reel and Logan York rounding out your top 10. Devin Ray, Jeff Merck are back in row number 6. Moving on back to row number 7, starting in the 13th spot here tonight, Jared Haynes alongside Trevor Osranoff, Chris Walker and Chris Carter in row 8, Mike George, Larry McDonald in row 9, Ryan Hennings and Jordan Berube rounding out your top 20. Dalton Steele, Chase Mistretta start back in row number 11. Back in row 12, in fact, we skipped over just a little bit too far. Row 12 is going to be Jeremy Osborne alongside James Wagner. Ronald Piles, back in 25th. Sean Corbett, 26th. Teresa Spiker, 27th. Greg Spiker, 28th. Justin Nullings in 29th. Back in the 30th spot was R. Haas. Malik Ray, 31st. Joshua McCullough, 32nd. And the rest of them round out our 41-car field here tonight. We'll get to them all in due time, but we're ready to go green, so here we go. Green flag in the air. The field is underway. And already a great restart on the inside. Daniel Falkingham is going to pull away to a pretty early lead on the inside. He's getting pushed by a couple of the teammates that he's working with here tonight. Matt Lee in the 04 and Matthew Baker in the number 5 car. That push will continue as, man, look at that. They're already getting tandemed up here down the super stretch for the first time tonight. Everybody else double file, but going back and forth, inside, outside. Any lane that you feel like has momentum, that's the lane that you're going to go with here early on. And already almost some trouble right there as you saw the 49 trying to find a spot. That was Chris Melton. And he's going to be able to get back in behind the 34 of Michael Triscaro. They'll get lined up, but up front, they're trying to create a little bit of a breakaway from the rest of the pack. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen yet because unlike the Gen 6 cars, while these next gens, the draft is strong, it's a little bit different. You don't have to worry about losing the pack as easily. And so for a lot of the drivers that are starting further in the back of the field, it should not be much of a problem here tonight. While it's early, I do want to get through some things. Again, talked about it. This is the first time that we're broadcasting this league. Trouble out back, so we'll hold that thought. Jeremy Osborne hard into the outside safer barrier down the super stretch. Osborne's going to try to make sure that he can keep it in the middle. Everybody dodges him. And into turn 3, that car is going to have to make a pit stop, I would think, after the damage he sustained. You saw the hood fly off initially. It's back on the car now. But this was a big, big hit for Jeremy Osborne down the first half of the back straightaway. Watch this as up top. Oh, and now caution's out. So we've got some trouble here. I don't know if this was for Osborne or for a different issue. I'm assuming that this may have been for Osborne. I'm not seeing anything obvious. We're not getting any data on any other issues around the track that would have brought this out. So obviously we'll see if there's something that we may have missed here. But I'm not thinking so. It's looking to me like that was indeed the issue that may have potentially brought out the caution. Let's go back and look at it to make sure. But if we watch this first, we'll go to the rear chase cam, just kind of scroll you through the field here to make sure there wasn't any issues that we may have missed. You see everybody is pretty calm, pretty tame at this point, all the way through. I don't see any issues there, no issues there. The only car you see with trouble is Jeremy Osborne, who of course had his issue down the backstretch. So really interesting to see this being called a caution. Like I said, unless there's something we just didn't see. But watch this again for Jeremy Osborne as they get onto the back straightaway here. Is he going to get some help? Oh, yikes. Definitely does get some help up top here. First, let's go to the chopper view here if we can get it up there. And I believe, I was trying to figure out exactly who this was that hits him. Go up a couple more spots here to this pack that he was actually running in. Go up a little bit further here. All right, so here's Jeremy. Let's watch it first from the chopper view. And you're going to see the 30 car on the outside. Ooh, it may have been a push out back too. That's James Wagner, by the way, in the 30. But Malik Ray in the 7's actually pushing Wagner. And I wonder if he gets him just a slight bit offset in the corner, and that turns Wagner down just a little bit and ultimately gets him into Osborne. Again, watch it slow. So at this point, you see Malik Ray in the 7. He's trying to tandem with James Wagner. They're making really good headway, but then right here off the corner, as the car starts to unload, he's just a little bit offset to the left. That swipes the 30 down the track. Wagner gets into Jeremy Osborne, and then once the 41 gets turned, I mean, he gets hooked dead right into the fence. Big hit. See the hood and the right front fender flying off of that race car. And then right here is where you got really nervous. Everybody's still at full pace. The 41 car was not. And as he came back up on the track, you were just hoping that everybody was going to be able to find a way to dodge him, and they did. So that's the good news. But unfortunately for Jeremy Osborne, not much good news to pull out of this one. And that was such a late caution that, I mean, really at that point, I would have thought they decided that, you know, since it was one car, it wouldn't be one. But again, very, very lucky for nobody else to get involved in the first lap chaos we had here tonight at Daytona. And show you this again one more time here. Watch it from the backstretch view for Jeremy Osborne. We'll back this all the way up to where it happened. And then remember, the caution didn't come out till turn 4. Now, granted, that is a good break for Osborne because he's still going to have, you know, the advantage of being able to go down to the pits. The problem is they don't have a faster pair here tonight. That was one of the things in the race info that I didn't get to before we started that I was getting ready to mention right as the incident happened. And when you don't have that faster pair to lean on, you got to kind of take a bit of a different approach. And if you get in a wreck early, that is really going to make the rest of your night hard, trying to get that car repaired good enough to make it back out on track. But either way, as we go back live up front, lights on the pace car are still on. You've got Daniel Falkingham leading the way, followed by Matthew Lee in second. Again, those are two Nightmare Esports teammates working together tonight. Kenny Reel, Ethan Eckert back in row 2 here. Kyler Wynn and Brian Hennings back in row 3. Then it's Mike George alongside Greg Spiker. By the way, how about Greg Spiker? He's up 20 spots from where he started this race at. He is on the move. Joshua McCullough behind him in 9th. Then Teresa Spiker working, of course, with Greg Spiker. That is a husband and wife team. Right now she finds herself in the 10th spot, and she's up 17 spots from where she started this race at. All right. So as we get ready to go back green, rather, a couple things that I did want to get through. First of all, if you're just tuning in or you've been tuning in, we appreciate you being here. Hope that you are having a good Wednesday night, Wednesday evening. And we wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, as of course we won't be streaming tomorrow, so won't get the opportunity to say that. Hopefully everybody goes and eats a lot of turkey, and we'll meet a lot of you hopefully back here next week for more of the Ruff Neck Racing Wednesday Money Racing Series. I believe they've actually named it. It's either Money Madness. I think it's Money Madness or Wednesday Madness. Either way, kind of a new series. Ruff Neck Racing has been around as a league for a little bit, but they decided to kind of dip their toes into the money racing side of things. And I mean, with all the bonuses they're putting up, it's going to be hard to not get a stacked field, similar to what we have here tonight. Let's actually talk to you just briefly about what some of those bonuses are. First and foremost, the big one that everybody's got their eye on is going to be the halfway bonus, which is going to be $100 to whoever leads that halfway point in the race. And then you go back and look at what's going to be, well, we already had somebody grab the pole. I believe there was a $25 reward for that. And then can't forget about what I believe is most laps led, which was a $50 reward for that as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on some of those things. Of course, the halfway one, the one that we can kind of watch the most in real time, but we know who sat on the pole. It was Daniel Falkingham, so he's already got his money back tonight. We'll be trying to do a little bit more. Matthew Baker in the chat and in the races. Go back and watch the save. And so we didn't see anything initially, and that could be why. It may have been a driver that made a wicked save that brought out the caution, and maybe, just maybe, that's what it was here. I'm trying to watch. This may have been further back. Let's go see here. Unless this was... Oh, here we go. All right, so this may have potentially been what brought out the caution. If not, that incident on the backstretch. Devin Ray. Oh, my goodness. Matthew Baker. Half sideways. Wow, what a save that was. So that explains why we didn't actually have any data that showed cars off track, because, well, they never went off track. He saves it right here as Devin starts turning him, and that's just, again, two cars tandeming, pushing as hard as they can. And right here starts to get him offset. Baker's trying to save it. Now Devin's under him, and that just hooks the car to the left. Baker's got to drive out of it. That is a heck of a save. The PGR 500, number 5 Chevy Camaro, and a great job by Matthew Baker. All right. Here we go. Lights are off on the pace car. That means that we are getting back to green flag racing this time. So the car is going to make the left turn this time. And the two cars leading the way back to green. Again, two teammates, Falkingham and Matt Lee, as here we go. Going to work back up into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. We're back underway at Daytona. And it's a good restart for Daniel Falkingham on the inside. It will not be long before he jumps up high to pick up his teammate, Matt Lee. There he goes. He's going to get some help now as they roll down the short chute towards turn number 1. Falkingham up top. That's really where you're going to see kind of preferred lane B for anybody leading this race all night. If you can get up top, you're going to get a lot more momentum. The problem is you can't let this inside get a big surge without trying to side draft. Kyler Wynn pushing Kenny Reel for all it's worth, trying to see if he can get that 11 car clear, but to no avail. Here comes a 54 back up to the front. See Brian Hennings in the 74 now starting to work his way into the picture. For Brian Hennings, another driver who has come so close so many times to winning one of these big-name money races. He doesn't run with one of the biggest teams. Of course, he runs with PGR eSports, but maybe arguably not some of the super big names that we see with the teams that have Coke drivers, such as Nightmare Esports and then the Jack Shack. But, oh, Cody Nagels, look at this. This is aggressive. Actually, that may have been Logan York in the 0-2. Yes, it was. He quickly jumped to the outside just behind Cody Nagels, and they were going to split out Malik, and they were able to be successful in doing so. You see right now Malik Ray stuck, pushing the 41 of Dalton Steele. He's got nowhere to go. Now Kenny Reel's going to get briefly shoved below the yellow line. He saves it to work his way back up. York now leads the charge, deciding between the bottom and the middle. He'll go with the middle. Kyler Wynn's going to bail to the top. Now York goes back down to the bottom. Meanwhile, all this racing out back has allowed them to single file out up front. And leading that single file line is still the 54 of Daniel Falkingham. I don't think you're going to see him really consider making a move at this point. There's no real need if you're Daniel Falkingham to make a move yet. I think he's content to kind of just ride in line. And, or excuse me, Matt Lee, there's no point in making a move yet if you're Matt Lee. You got a teammate in front of you. You got a long ways to go in the race. Right now, the focus is, of course, on setting up a couple things. Number one, if you can lead the most laps in this race, there's an extra $50. If you can lead the halfway point, there's an extra $100. So for Nightmare Esports, they're already in the green right now, but they're going to try to get a lot further ahead of the competition by seeing if they can get Falkingham maybe the most laps led, and then also potentially grab that halfway marker prize. As you see Jeff Merck now, a new paint scheme for him as he continues to roll his way to the front. Jeff Merck's going to try to ride this tandem. I mean, York has been pushing him since they were about halfway back with the pack, and they've been able to tandem all the way up to the front, but it looks like they're not going to be able to go much further here, at least not without much more help. And one of the problems here for Logan York is that he's going to need to cool down sooner or later. Hasn't had the opportunity to do it yet. Now he finally was able to back off the back bumper of Jeff Merck, and you can see it there on the weather. 133 degrees, actually just bumped up to 134 degrees is the current track temp that we are sitting at here at Daytona International Speedway. 70 degrees outside. Winds at 2 miles an hour as it's about 1:15 in sim time. And so again, that really, really hot track temp doing a couple of things for these next-gen cars. Makes the tire wear really tough to deal with once tires start to wear out. The car has a tendency to get really tight off the corner. You put too much wheel into it, it likes to get loose at the same time. And the other thing that does is make it a little bit harder to cool the temps off when you've been pushing somebody for a while. Makes the cars get hotter quicker when you do get tandemed up with somebody. Cody Nagel is going to make that move to the bottom in front of Jeff Merck. He saw the momentum coming from the inside. He wants to go further to the front. As you see, it looks like Kyler Wynn and Malik Ray here trying to shoot through the middle. They've been working in that middle lane now for a couple laps, but they're going to see if they can maybe take that middle line all the way to the front. And they've got some help there, not alone. You saw it, the two, Devin Ray and the 49, 89 rather, Trevor Ozernoff were both working towards the front as well right there. It's like finally they're going to start to get separated. They'll go back down to the insides. We have one in the wall. Go to back turn 3. Now we got more trouble here. I heard another one hit the wall, and that's a big hit. That's going to bring out the caution, I would assume here. That's Sean Corbett. That car will come to a halt on the racetrack at 3 and 4. Well, it doesn't bring out the caution yet. 45 is going to get it off track finally. But for Sean Corbett,
all right, man.
there it is. All right, so there's the caution. I was getting ready to say, I'd be surprised if they don't, kind of throw the caution for this manually. As, ooh, now we're showing maybe more trouble here. So I think this may have just been a couple cars trying to miss it, or at least that would be the hope here. Dalton Steele and a couple others, the drivers that were showing potential issues after the caution came out. Looking for some of them here right now where they're running. Dalton Steele in 33rd. Does his car have any damage? Oh, it does. Big damage for Dalton Steele. You got to wonder now, was this after the caution? That's what the initial thought was. That's a bad break if it was. Trevor Ozernoff has some damage as well, though, to his right front and the front nose of his Chevy Camaro. So both of these guys involved in kind of an incident that I believe happened after the caution. But let's show you this again here. See if we can figure out exactly what happened here and where it all goes wrong. We'll go first here to the chase cam to see kind of what starts what here. And yeah, so we had a full-blown incident here in turn 1 and 2. That's what actually brought out the caution. Now, we did have that incident over there in 3 and 4, and ironically, kind of in the same fashion that we had with the first incident that brought out the caution here tonight. The incident that we thought was drawing the caution wasn't the incident that brought out the caution. Sean Corbett, he's going to go into the wall here off of turn number 4. I'm going to go see if we can find this for you here. So Sean Corbett right here, watch, he's riding in line on the inside, minding his own. He's getting pushed right here by the 8 car. And by the way, that is Justin Hullings. And then right is, they're trying to work together. There's a check up out in front, and that stack up is going to cause the 8 to get into the 45. And then he's going to just kind of run him into the back of the 04 Ambrose Knievel. That was when Trevor Osronoth actually got into the wall as well, so that may explain how he gets his damage. And then Corbett, big hit into the outside wall. Hullings follows him up as he didn't really have anywhere else to go. Saw that checkup kind of started a bit further up. I'm curious as to exactly how it all did start. So we'll go to the blimp cam here and show you exactly what that looked like here for Christopher Carter. Do we have a couple getting the wall initially into 3? Yeah, we did. So that's what starts it. You see Trevor Osronoth and James Wagner kind of at the top left of your screen. Yeah, maybe more middle top. And watch the 89 as they get into the corner. Does Osronoth wash up or does Wagner come down? Maybe a little bit of both, but from that angle, it looks a little bit more like Trevor Osronoth is creeping up the track here a little bit. And the reason I say that is if you want to use anything as judgment, use this white line that you're going to see as they work into the turn. Now, it's a little bit harder to see from that angle, so I'll show you again from the chopper view. So right here, look at James Wagner. His left side tires are above that white line. Trevor Osronoth, his right side tires are above that white line. And then as they get into the corner right here, you're going to see Trevor starts to work up, and yep, just slight contact into the left rear of James Wagner. That sends him into the wall. And again, this wreck we're looking at isn't what caused the caution. And I say a wreck, but I guess really it wasn't considered one since it didn't bring out the caution. But then you see Sean Corbett, he's going to get hit here in the back. And that's what sends him up, turn hard into the outside wall. And so that was kind of that incident. But again, that's not what brought out the caution. No, the caution was up here in turn 2 after everybody kept it together. And watch what happens here is they're going to get into the corner. We're going to wad them up again. So they're 3 wide in the middle. Dalton Steele on the bottom. You see Malik Ray is going to take a shot up top. And oh, it's actually up front. Starts between Nagels and Daniel Falkingham there. That's 2 Nightmare Esports teammates. So that's maybe the chemistry gone wrong a little bit here. Does Falkingham just get him a little bit offset? Looks like it. Maybe just barely. Starts turning that 6 car down the banking. He gets into Jeff Merck. And then that's just going to wad him up. They save it for the most part up front, but then you can see it translate out back. The 7 gets in the wall, a couple others, and then Dalton Steele. Not sure if he actually hit the wall here or if he just had some big damage from it. Go back and see if we can actually give you a clip here from the onboard view of Dalton Steele, show you what he saw through it, where he may have got some of that damage from. So he sees it in front, tries to shoot the gap, and boy, he was close to sneaking through Kenny Real, but instead gets collected as he washes up, collects Chris Melton. And so again, that's the part of the incident that ultimately brought out the caution. And your second caution of the night, I might add. And a big incident. Kind of 2 incidents that really only ended up taking out 2 or 3 cars, but certainly shows you just how tough these cars have been to drive so far tonight. It's going to, I think, kind of continue to be that way, if you will. So we give you one more angle here from the zoomed-in view before we go back live. So the checkup starts in front. Look how much. I mean, this is in slow motion, and you still see it looks like they're just checking up out of nowhere. And then Steele tries to shoot the gap, but just barely gets clipped in the left front. That sends him into Baker, who got a little bit of damage. And then up top, there's some of the big hits. Saw the 7 with just absolutely nowhere to go. And that was just kind of the start of it. And they all just pile in from there. All right, so as we go back live now, up front, leading the way, Daniel Falkingham, but he doesn't have his teammate Cody Nagels anymore after Cody was involved in that incident, which started at the front. Then it's Logan York on the inside here. Back in row 2, Kyler Wynn, Matt Lee. And then in row 3, you've got Ethan Eckert alongside Michael Triscaro. So as they go back green this time, we're going to be about between 15 to 20 laps away from the halfway point in this race, which I think it's interesting with the whole halfway bonus because we've got an odd number of laps here tonight, so you kind of wonder, how are they going to score it? Is it going to be the lap before the halfway point or the lap after the halfway point? I would almost think it's going to be the lap after, but we'll have to see how they decide to go about it. Either way, here we go. Logan York, he's ready to go. Him and Kyler Wynn going to be trying to push clear these 2 Nightmare Esports teammates on the outside. We'll see if they can make it happen. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona. It's a good restart again for the two teammates on the outside, Falkingham and Lee. They are rolling, and Kyler actually ditches York quickly, jumps right up to the top of the racetrack. 34 of Michael Triscaro back and forth. Looks like Eckert's going to allow Logan York to slot up in line as well. And that just leaves Brian Hennings out, who's trying to find a spot as well. You see him side drafting every car that he can, hoping that he can, find somewhere where somebody will let him in, and if not, at least try to slow the momentum down until somebody cuts him a break. And he finally got that break coming off of turn 2. He was able to get just in front of the 7 machine. I'm actually looking at it right now for Brian Hennings. That was actually the 70 machine of Teresa Spiker. There goes Cody Nagels on the bottom. He's going to get a little bit of help here from Larry McDonald. And then you've got Ronald Piles along with John Hughes, Ambrose Kniebel, Matthew Baker, all in this second pack, trying to play catch-up right now to see if they can get back kind of hooked up with that front group. It looks like they will get closer as they go off into turn number 1. By the way, Ambrose Kniebel, since we're on him right now, kicking off some of the drivers that we have carrying onboard views for us here tonight. There's the cockpit view for Ambrose Kniebel. That is one of the drivers out of Gold Bar, Washington. Ambrose has been around for a long time. And see as he goes to get a quick sip of the beer there, he's going to tag the outside wall once, avoid it a second time. And if you're not drinking and driving, then I guess what else would you do here? That's a funny camera view. I'm glad we got Ambrose on board tonight. Oh, man, up front. Whoa, that was a big moment right there between Malik Ray, Logan York, Kyler Wynn, and Cody Nagels. Wow, that was a big stack up. You saw a couple cars get shot below the apron off turn 4. But it looks like they were all able to save it. Man, that could have been a whole heck of a lot worse right there. Man, oh, man. The 0-2 of Logan York now with another big push from Malik Ray. This is going to be a fun tandem to watch down the backstretch, and this is exactly why, because they all know how to push. Looks like Kyler, though, is going to get the advantage. He's got the Coke Series driver, Daniel Falkingham, pushing behind. Matt Lee's going to make that a 3-car tandem. Remember, you can do that in these next gens, not just tandem, but you can 3-car tandem. Maybe not in the corners, but especially on the straightaways. Now, through the corner, you can still stay tandemed up. That's usually where the inside starts to get the advantage back. And as Logan York gets clear, he makes that quick move to the left as he works his way up to the high side of the racetrack. And so as he gets on the point, Kyler Wynn will now take over that lead pusher position. Matthew Baker going to look back to the middle here. Will he get any helpers? Devin Ray's giving it a thought. Looks like it's a little bit of a split decision here. Oh, man, the 11 of Kenny Reel thought about trying to go as well, but just couldn't quite make the move happen in time. There's the 27 of Jordan Berube. Berube right now is up 6 spots from where he started this race at. And that middle line is going nowhere. They're going to go all the way to the back right now. Matthew Baker continuing to fade here. He's fading quite quickly as well. He's another one of our onboard view drivers here tonight. Let's top on board with him here for a lap. And watch the chaos that he's got to go through is right there. That's what I'm talking about, where in these cars, they have a tendency to get tight, especially when you're running in a draft in which you're going 190 through the corners. And as he lifts out of the throttle there, actually started to get just a little bit tight on him. And caution, trouble. Further back here, let's see what this one's for. We got a lot of the field scattering through the short chute, but again, besides that, another caution it's either delayed or it's just too hard to spot. I'm really not sure what the deal is here. This is now, I believe, the 3rd time here tonight that we've had a caution that has not been an obvious one. At least not while we had the camera pan to the group. So let's go back and try to solve this mystery for you here. As we'll go first to the rear chase cam is, well, it looks like the 66 on the apron at this point. You wonder if that maybe explains part of it? I don't know. I almost think that may have been damage that he had. We'll go first here, like I said, to the chase view. Just kind of watch up front. You see the pack there. So this was actually on the backstretch. We had a couple cars in the grass, it looks like. As that's the 38 off track. Yeah, so we had an incident here. This was coming off of turn number 2. And yet again, this was kind of the lap before. This wasn't really when the caution itself came out. Caution wasn't until much later, but so here you go. That's going to be Reen Hasp. It might be Renee Hasp. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But we're going to go with, I'm not sure if it's Reen or Renee. If you know in the chat, please do let me know. Again, a lot of drivers that we haven't had the chance to see before, so we're trying to get some of the names correct here over the next couple of weeks. But either way, let's go back to some of the drivers that were actually involved in this. So Ambrose Kniebel here, who's just a spot or 2 up. We're going to go to him first and see if this maybe makes things a little bit more explanatory on exactly what happens. And so, yeah, all right, so there you go. So you're going to see the 8 and the 14 get together first, which is going to start with some contact that happens even further up than they're running. There's the 00 up top, the 13 of Aubrey Thompson, just behind him. And right here in the middle, the 8. Ooh, might have been a little bit of netcode right there between the 8 and the 41. The 41 is Jeremy Osborne, and then the 8, who we actually saw involved in an incident earlier. That's Justin Hewlings, and I think there's a bit of netcode between these two. This is an odd look, but watch this again for Hewlings. Right here, watch as Osborne starts to drift up. No contact. The 8 starts to creep back down. Still no contact. And then right here, they never touch, but it shoots that car up the racetrack. He gets into the 00, and now he's going back down the track. He's going to get into the 14. Vicente Guerrero, now it's stacking him up. Gets back to Ambrose Canibal, who's going to turn around. Vicente Guerrero with nowhere to go. The 66 gets involved. And then you see everybody scattering. Thompson, Green, Hasp, all trying to find a way to miss it right there. Man, let's watch this one more time here in the blimp cam. And did it... I mean, was it... So the caution, by the way, let's show you this. This is when the caution came out, for anybody that's curious, right here. So this is about a straightaway, almost a straightaway and a quarter after the actual incident happened. That's a really, really late yellow flag, but either way, so watch right here. See the 8, kind of middle left of your screen? And there's no contact. I mean, it just looks like, you know, it's tight here when you're 3 wide. It's tricky. And I think that Hullings there was just trying to hold it in the middle and just, I mean, Osborne is creeping up a little bit. Hullings, unless it was a reaction to it, but it certainly didn't look like it from any of those views. Let's actually look at the onboard shot here for Justin Hullings and see if this shows you a little something more here, as is either a little bit of netcode or just a brief reaction to seeing Osborne drift up a little bit. And then once Hullings started the incident, kind of blew up from there. Vicente Guerrero saved it. Everybody was able to drive away, but certainly some drivers with some damage from this one. So as we go back live now, getting ready to get back to green flag racing. It's 22 of 65 laps now complete. Kyler Wynn leads the way. Malik Ray second. Mark Vondell in third, with Jeff Merck back in fourth. Chase Mistretta fifth. And you've got Daniel Falkingham sixth. Matt Lee seventh. Cody Nagels in eighth. With Michael Triscaro ninth. And Devin Ray rounding out your top 10. It looks like the lights are going to go off, so we get the one to go signal this time. We are now getting really, really close to that halfway point in the race. Again, you figure, you know, probably about 30, it's going to be right around 37 to 38. The end of one of those laps, I think, is what they will deem as the halfway point in this race. And you figure if it was 37 transitioning to 38, I guess that's kind of the closest thing to in the middle. But it's going to be an interesting call from the admins. We'll see if we can actually get word on that before we go back green. But again, for anybody just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. A couple of the other notes I had that I wanted to mention before we keep it officially focused on track here for the rest of the night is, I know we got off to a bit of a late start last night. I apologize to anybody that was wanting to watch the PGR race, of course, at Daytona for the Tuesday Night Thunder Takeover, which hosted the preview to the PGR 500. The internet at my apartment complex did go down. It did not come back up until about 11 a.m. this morning, but it's good to be back now and have the opportunity to broadcast for these guys here tonight. And then the other thing was, we are still, again, first week, so we were setting up a lot of stuff pre-race, for these drivers. And as a result of that, that is part of the reason we got off to just a little bit of a late start. And that is why we, of course, didn't get through the entire starting grid, and I do apologize for that. We do want to make sure that we try to talk about each and every driver at some point in the race, and we still have plans to do that here tonight. But again, normally we would easily get through the entire starting grid and race info before the start, but here tonight, again, a little bit behind schedule. We'll be all set up officially, though, for next week. So we thank you to everybody sticking through that. And with that, I think we're ready to get back to green flag racing here. All right. So you've got Malik and Kyler now, two teammates on the front row. We've had a lot of these restarts that have seen two teammates on the front row, but instead of Nightmare Esports this time, it's going to be the Jack Shack. All right, here we go. Pace car pulls off. Green flag is in the air, and we are back underway at Daytona. Good restart on the inside. Boy, that caused some stacking up out back. Falkingham says, I didn't like any bit of that. He's going to immediately split the 60 of Jeff Merck. Boy, this is going to get interesting here. These front two are going to have to be so disciplined because Malik Ray knows that his job is to make sure that Falkingham, Cody Nagels, and Matt Lee don't try to split him. Otherwise, what just happened to Jeff Merck may happen to them. Ooh, maybe some trouble here further back with Renee Hasp. Looks like Renee has made it down to the pit safely here. She had a brief issue. Not sure what this issue exactly entailed here. Watch the 38. Was trying to maybe come down to the pits. No, had some sort of internet issue. And you're going to notice here that right as she blinks back in, it's going to be bad timing as she just ends up in the grass. Man, it's a tough break over there either way. Back up front now we go. And Kyler Wynn still leading away on the high side with Malik Ray. Nobody has decided to try to push the issue just yet. Mark Vondel, though, about the 59 from McCullough Motorsports leading the bottom. Mark Vondel, he is due for a win again here pretty soon. He always puts himself in good positions, but this guy gets a lot of bad luck in the wrong times. And Mark Vondel, again, another one of the veterans of money racing. He's very conservative. He doesn't like to cause any issues with anybody. And right now, Vondel and Chase Mastretta trying to get locked up. Trouble. Matt Lee into the outside wall. This is going to collect a bunch of them. Everybody was trying to dodge it. Nobody's got anywhere to go. This will bring the caution out yet again as Matt Lee will slide down the banking. Brian Hennings is in it. We have got all sorts of cars involved. Ronald Piles is in it. Looks like Ambrose Kniebel may have some damage. So another caution. Now makes this just the fourth caution of the night. Excuse me, the fourth caution in just 26 laps. And for Ambrose Kniebel here, he'll get back on track. Try to limp it around. Looks like Ronald Piles is going to try to do the same. He's got pretty significant damage on a few ends of that race car. So as Ambrose is going to drive around the outside, we'll go back here and take a look at this one, which we were finally able to actually catch, kind of as it happened live. And that really started right there. You can see in the background with Matt Lee and a couple others. But if we watch it from TV3, and again, we'll go up here to Matt Lee for you. Watch how this all starts. We're going to go first to the chopper view. The question is it going to be a stack-up? Ooh, it's something. As right here. No, it's not a stack-up. What it is, it's a big run by Daniel Falkingham here. And he's going to dart out of line here to try to make a move on Malik Ray. As he darts out of line, Cody Nagels is going to try to follow. Matt Lee tries to do the same. And just Matt misjudges it a little bit. And then looks like that stack-up moves him back. And then he was okay, though. And I think they were going to be okay here. Devin Ray goes to the outside, and then Devin just, moves down a little bit. I'm sure he wasn't expecting that brief checkup there from Lee. But as Devin moves down just a little bit right there, they make some slight contact. And again, I think maybe Lee got shot up a little bit from the checkup, but I just think Devin was maybe looking for a side draft or to tuck in line behind and wasn't expecting that checkup. And once he gets into the 04 Matt Lee, that's going to turn him up into the fence. Then it's on from here. Watch the drivers that start piling in with just nowhere to go. See the 32 get involved. Brian Henning slides down. There's Ronald Piles, Ambrose Kniebel. Everybody with just really nowhere to go. So we'll go look at this from a couple different angles. And, I really kind of wonder here, too, if for Daniel Falkingham, that move he was making was exactly when he wanted to make it, or if that brief checkup, almost kind of right as Malik falls off the back bumper of Kyler, caught him off guard, and he just decided to make that evasive maneuver. I would have to think that he did it intentionally, just trying to make a move on Malik. And, of course, Falkingham does nothing wrong. Neither does Nagels. It's just as Matt Lee tries to follow to stick with his teammates here, just doesn't quite work out the way that they probably had it planned. And for Devin Ray, he certainly wasn't expecting it either. He gets collected as a result. Let's go to the onboard view here for Devin Ray. Show exactly kind of what it looked like from his point of view here. This was after they had already made contact. So we'll back it up. When they first... Oh, man, right there. It's a tough break. Gets it back rolling finally. So that's the good news there for Devin. It may not be all that bad, actually, for Devin Ray. Looked a little worse than I think it actually was. And then if we go back here and watch this one more time from the turn 3 views, see just how many of them all piled in here. Probably all in all about 5 to 10 different cars got at least some contact from this incident. We had drivers darting through the grass and everywhere else. Now notice, do you see anybody really sneak through this one? That's always a question that we kind of try to keep an eye on. Osborne maybe just barely, Kniebel not quite, Devin up top, and then a couple others out back kind of checking up, but didn't see anybody really shoot the gap or have to split the C's on that one, that was for sure. So So as we go back live now, up front, leading the way is Kyler Wynn. Daniel Falkingham in second. It's Cody Nagels back in third. Malik Ray fourth. Mark Vondell currently rounding out your top 5. Did we get the one to go signal? Yes, we did. So they'll double back up. We'll get ready to get back to green flag racing here. As, by the way, Michael Triscaro, another one of our onboard views that we have here tonight. Series owner for PGR eSports. Driver out of Chagrin Falls, Ohio. I'll tell you what, if you like what you see here tonight, you might want to go check out the PGR eSports Discord. You're going to see a lot of the same drivers. You're going to see a lot of the same money, usually even a little bit more. And, of course, you're going to see it on the same broadcasting channel here, so you'll already know where to go. And then last but certainly not least, for NBG Motorsports, Jeff Merck out here rocking an onboard view for us here tonight. The driver out of Punta Gorda, Florida. Jeff Merck with the full setup rig, trying to see if he can find victory lane here tonight. For Jeff Merck right now, he's got a little bit of work to do. He's right now in that 17th spot. He's still got a long ways to go in this race. So we'll see if he can get it together. As we go back up front and get ready to get back to green flag racing, we'll be back in about 10 seconds. We're going to go get a quick official word on if the halfway break for the money they're going to do on the end of 37 or the end of 38. Stick with us. All right, there we go. Got official word. And part of that was I was, for some reason, thinking that the race was a little bit longer than it was. I was thinking it was, for some reason, 75 laps when I was doing my math. The halfway break is going to actually be at lap 32, coming to 33. So, again, yeah, and you see Baker posting it there, 32. It's going to be at the end of 32 is the official word we have from race control. And so that is going to be just 4 laps away from now. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for the inside. Kyler Window's going to have to leave his teammate because he saw the steam up top from Nightmare Esports. They are aligned up, and boy, they are going to have a lot of decisions to make here. I think what you're going to see is that they're going to try to stay behind Kyler until they get to that last lap, and then all 3 jump out. The problem is they're going to have to worry about Malik Ray, and he's not going to wait patiently and let these guys try to team up on his teammate. So watch for Mark Vondell to potentially go with that 7 of Malik Ray if he tries to jump out of line, but he won't do anything yet. Stays in line for now. Mike George in the 29. What can he do? That's one of the drivers that doesn't have a big team to work with. Further back, 3 wide. Watch out. Oh, trouble. There they go. They're going to wreck it off at turn 4. This could be for the stage 2. Caution is out. Oh, man, everybody's still trying to shoot the gap. Whoa, man. That got even closer for a couple of drivers. Looked like the 49 of Chris Melton was involved in that one. We had a couple drivers have to scatter through the grass down by the pits. One of those was the 33 of John Hughes. And again, now you got to ask the question of, was that for the stage? I think the answer is yes, because the way they did it on Sunday night was that you had to stay out still until it was the end of that. I keep saying stage. It's not really a stage. We would have stayed green, but it would have just been kind of that halfway checkpoint, which had the $100 on the line. And I mean, we're not going to be going back green here to probably lap 33, 34. So it's just a matter of, as long as Kyler Wynn can stay out for these next couple of laps, that $100 will be his. He won it on Sunday. And it looks like he's getting ready to win it again. Let's go back and look at this incident, though, that brought out the caution. It's just a lot of aggression further back. It's kind of been that way here after the early portions of this race, and it's going to kind of continue this trend most likely. Is see the 33 there, John Hughes on the outside, Triscaro in the middle. Here's Dalton Steele. And looks like, I don't know if there might have been a brief checkup. In fact, let's hop on board before we actually watch it from that view here. So watch for John Hughes and listen to his throttle here. Yeah, okay, so that's exactly what it was. There was a big checkup. I think Hughes saw that little puff of smoke out front and thought that they were wrecking. And I mean, I've been in that spot before. You see, any sort of smoke, you think, oh, it's getting ready to be the big one, so you check up. The problem is it wasn't actually wrecked. Somebody may be scraping the wall, but that was it. Either way, they all save it here. So when he checks up, Steele gets into him because, of course, he can't react, that quick when he's pretty much on his bumper. And then a couple of them get sent around here. Boy, somebody came absolutely flying through here when this incident took place. We'll have to see if we can get that onboard view after a couple more looks at this. But watch it again from the zoomed in view. And you're going to see just how big this checkup is from John Hughes. As right there, he gets out of it. Steele has nowhere to go, and then everybody trying to miss it. James Wagner's in it. Steele was in it, of course. But I see Teresa Spiker potentially get involved in that as well. She sneaked through it here. I think she got a little bit of contact. Let's see here. Watch it again. Right here, the 27. You see Teresa Spiker still up top. There's the checkup. She's going to try to miss it. Goes up top. So far, so good. And then right there, just gets hooked and gets into the fence. Not really hooked, but gets tagged in the front and then hooked around into the fence. So as we do go back to this view, I want to go back and actually show you here. See if we can figure out exactly who this was that came absolutely flying through here. I mean, somebody was not lifting. That was certainly for sure. And I mean, it's great when it works out, but this was Edward Fielder. Actually, excuse me, Edward Fedler. I believe it's Fiedler or Fedler. If you know how to pronounce it and I'm saying it wrong, please do let me know. Again, we have not had the opportunity to see a lot of these drivers before, and unless they tell me exactly how to pronounce their last name, then there's a chance I could get it wrong. So just let me know if you know it. We'll make sure we get it right from now on. But watch what Edward does right here. As we'll go to the cockpit view first, he's just going to shoot the gap. He sees him wrecking, keeps his foot in it, keeps his foot in it, keeps his foot in it. Right here, realizes maybe I should check up. Luckily, though, the seas part. He shoots the gap, and it's a heck of a job right there from Edward to make it through that wreck without getting any damage. Be able to continue on his way. Some of the drivers that obviously are going to have to pit for damage. We know James Wagner is going to be one of them here. Watch it again, and in fact, what I'm going to show you here is a look from the chase cam. You're going to see that smoke up front that we kind of saw from the cockpit view. It's not so much smoke from anything happening, it's more so a blink. You're going to see it from the third car in line. Blinks out, and then right as it blinks back in, it creates a little bit of that effect that ends up translating out back to what looks like a wreck. Right there, a little bit of smoke in the wall. You saw that little puff right there, and I don't know if anybody actually hit the wall. I think it was just more or less a visual effect, right? Let's see, where is it? Right there. Yeah, that's what it was. Just a visual effect, and just another tough incident, the way it panned out, but, I mean, what can you do? It's kind of that risk versus reward that you run here, not only when you run at a plate track in general, but when you decide to try to run up here in the pack in a race where you know that you've got no fast repair. Is obviously if there's a wreck, you're involved, you could potentially be done for the night knowing that you don't have a fast repair. So as they wreck coming off turn 4, the first pack didn't have to worry about it. Second pack able to avoid most of them. So a lot of drivers still going to get away relatively unscathed as we go back up front now. And Heath Jobe says one lap shootout for the halfway leader right here, but I don't think so, Heath. They said 32 coming to 33, unless somehow they change that. And we're going to be going back green right on that transition lap. And I would assume that that would mean whoever's actually leading him to green here is guaranteed the spot. But if that's not the case, then this could still be a little interesting here. I think if you're Kyler, just to be extra safe, you fire off here as soon as you can. But actually, now that I think about it, the rule is you can't go till the green is thrown. So the assumption here again is going to be, oh, well, never mind. Matthew Baker is saying, yeah, it is a one-lap shootout for the halfway point. All right, well, I guess the rules were changed yet again. Okay, well, we appreciate it. This is the beauty of having people in chat that can hear what race control is saying all the time. And so here we go then. Won't have to worry about drag racing to the start-finish line. It's going to be a one-lap shootout. Remember, caution will not be thrown as long as everybody can hold it together. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Kyler Wynn gets the big jump as he's going to try to clear Falkingham. Whoa! Man, what was that? Did the 54 get into the 82? I'm not sure, but Kyler certainly tried to bully the 54 up the track. He's still bullying him up the track. He actually is going to put him in the wall. Kyler Wynn puts Daniel Falkingham in the wall. Here comes Malik Ray. Man, that was really aggressive. There they go. Kyler up into Falkingham. Caution is out. Big trouble. What happened there? Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Chase Mastretta's in it. Multiple other cars involved, and I'm baffled. What just happened? Oh, man. Wow. All right. Well, tempers flare. Let's go back and, I mean, did Kyler... Surely Kyler doesn't just flat wreck him here. Oh, he doesn't. Oh, no. No, he doesn't. By no means. I was kind of going to say, I'd be surprised. See that be the case. Mastretta here. I think Mastretta's going to kind of be the fault at this one here, unless there's some netcode between the two. But you see Chase Mastretta here duck down. I don't know. Are they going for a side draft? I mean, that's the guess. Let's see here. Mastretta just keeps going lower and lower, and he just hooks Kyler, and that sends Kyler up into the wall. And you would assume it's not intentional, because if it was, boy, that didn't really work out too well for the teammates that you were trying to help and causing that. So, but let's go back to this restart first, because this is where this is all going to start. This was so interesting here. I'm not really sure what all the deal was. Ooh, actually, I know exactly what the deal was right here. And I'll tell you exactly what it was as soon as we watch from the chopper view. Okay, so here you go. And I'm going to use the mouse for this just so that you can see what I'm talking about. Right here on the inside, second in line, that's Cody Nagels. Here on the outside in the 54, that's Daniel Falkingham. And the 8 is Chase Mastretta. These 3 cars, these are 3 Nightmare Esports teammates, okay? So they're working together. They want this $100. They're not big fans of Kyler Wynn. And so look what they're going to do on this restart here. Cody's not going to get a good jump at all. And I think Kyler says, oh, okay, well, that's intentional. You know, I don't really appreciate that. So he's going to drive it right up into the door of Daniel Falkingham. Now, maybe you could argue that time he thought, okay, maybe I'm clear. Maybe that's why he tries to jump up here. He thinks that maybe he's got just enough room to make it happen, but I don't think that's the case. Kyler's really good. He knows when he's clear. I think he did that kind of out of frustration. And then right here, he's going to further show his displeasure as he's just going to get into Falkingham and kind of put him in the wall. And then now it's just Mastretta starts to come down. I'm not sure if Mastretta was trying to kind of, you know, return the favor there and try to just pin Malik down to the apron or what the deal was. But again, that's just, you know, I hate to say it because every one of these guys up here that, you know, are in this wreck were very talented drivers, but it's just ridiculous. You just can't do that. I mean, everybody's out here looking for a good race, and you get guys involved that are minding their own business, trying to have a good race because of, you know, basically adult temper tantrums up here at the front. Let's go on board and watch this from the onboard view of Cody Nagels and see if this is indeed what he does. Take a listen to the throttle here for the restart. This is as they're creeping back up into that Geico restart zone. And here we go. Yeah, it's, you know, I can't obviously say for definite. Everybody can have their own point of view, but from everything it looks like, from all the background we know that's been going on with the, you know, kind of the chemistry, or I guess I should say the lack of harmony, that's the word I'm looking for, between these two teams. I got to think that that entire thing was Nagels purposely kind of sandbagging Kyler on the restart. Falkingham getting a good jump with a teammate. Kyler saying, I don't really appreciate you doing that. And so Kyler's going to get up into Falkingham and say, if you're going to try to sandbag on me, then I'm going to try to do the same to your teammate. And you see Malik Ray here, he's going to try to show his displeasure as well by pretty much trying everything just to split Nagels here. Nagels was able to find a spot up top, but as they get into the corner here, let's see if... Oh, they wrecked out back, actually. Wow, I didn't even see that initially. They had a wreck out back. So arguably, this wreck out back would have brought out the caution anyway. In fact, it may have. That was... Man, this has been a certainly odd night. I've broadcasted quite a few super speedway races, but this is certainly going down as one of the weirder ones, to say the least. See the 23 car on the top lane right here, and try to break down what happens to these guys real quick before we get one more look at that front incident. You see the 23, Teresa Spiker just in front of the 23, and right there, just some slight contact between those two. Gets Teresa turned into the wall, and then down into the 80 of Larry McDonald, up into the wall, and start collecting them from there. Some big hits there. The 8 was in it. Logan York goes through the grass to try to miss it. Larry McDonald trying to slide to a halt. But then again, one more look at this incident up front before we go back live for you here, and we'll show you one more time from the zoomed-in view. And for Chase Mastretta here, we can actually go to his cockpit view, I presume. And looking at it here, not sure if that ended his night or what, but let's go back and look at it, see exactly what happens with Chase. So again, caution is going to come out anyway for this wreck, but then as Chase goes down to try to side drafts, boom. Wreck's on from there, and unfortunate break, but, you know, I mean, what do you say about it, right? Some people are going to like it, some people aren't going to like it. Either way, though, this is the onboard view. It's just too hard for me to tell. Like I said, we'll have to give the benefit of the doubt, assuming it wasn't intentional. He was just trying to side draft really hard, but certainly not the best look from the way that whole restart played out. Either way, I couldn't really tell you now who won the halfway bonus, because I'm not sure if they're going to score it as the, you know, exact time of caution. If they're going to score it after that first wreck, which was going to bring out the caution. If they're going to score it as to the first car not in the wreck. I'm just not really sure. If we get a commercial break at some point, we'll go and figure that out for you and let you know. But this has shuffled some things at the front now. Took a couple drivers out of it, including some of the drivers that were, up at the front with a shot at it. Chase Mistretta, for the moment, he's being scored out of it. Kyler Wynn is not out of it. The 82 looks like he has gotten some of that damage repaired. He's still got a little bit more he's got to work on in front of that race car. And so as the lights are off, we're going to be going back green with Cody Nagels and Malik Ray on the front row. And well, if you thought the pissing match was over, we're getting ready to find out. Nagels maybe with a little damage on the left side of his race car. Malik Ray, Matthew Baker lined up top. Let's see what they do. Here we go.
Green.
And they said first green lap gets to halfway. Okay. So Benjamin Richards, who is race control, there you go. So we're going to try this again then. First green lap gets halfway. So I assume that he's saying that means this would actually be the last lap for the halfway prize at this point. So that means the opportunity is not over just yet for Cody Nagels. Matthew Baker, though, I would say he is in the catbird seat here, lead pusher on a one-lap shootout. He'll have the attempts to tandem Malik away. And if you're Baker, you got to set this up perfect. Set it up so that you can get back on his bumper and tandem him away. Once you get into 3, see Malik backing up. He's not going to let that happen. Jeff Merck's going to jump low. Here comes Matt Lee. Malik Ray has absolutely no help as they work off into turn 3. Matthew Baker's going to get clear. Can Jeff Merck get clear as well? Do they both jump up? Yes, they do. Malik may have one more look at it. Is he going to look back to the bottom? Yes, he is. Eckert's going to follow. This is going to be a big run, but they're going to jump back up. Nothing doing there. Baker will beat them all back to the line thanks to the push from Jeff Merck. And so as we know now, Matthew Baker wins the halfway $100 prize here tonight. Of course, we're going to keep the green flag out unless there is an incident. But man, how about that for a one-lap shootout? Baker timed it up pretty well. Malik tried to check up. He saw the run coming, but just not able to set up when you have 2 guys lined up ready to go. And Jeff Merck going with him there is what really helped out Matthew Baker. Now, that is 2 NBG teammates, so I wouldn't say you're too surprised to see that, but certainly good to see those 2 working together right there to get the job done. And now, look out on the bottom. Here comes Matt Lee, Cody Nagels. They're going to try to slowly work their way back to the front now. And this inside line has not been the best line by any stretch of the imagination tonight, but certainly if you get the right drivers in it, you can make it work. And boy, look at this setup here for these guys hanging around kind of just off of this lead draft. You got Aubrey Thompson getting pushed by Ken McCullough Jr. Joshua McCullough's in that group. Then Daniel Falkingham trying to go back to the front with a push here from Chris Walker. Chris Melton, he's got damage. Right now he's sitting in the back just trying to hang around until we get maybe another caution. And you've got John Hughes, Vicente Guerrero, Kyler Wynn. Oh, and well, speaking of, caution's out. Devin Ray's around. He's going to get tagged by Ken McCullough Jr., who had nowhere to go. Ken McCullough Jr. trying to get it looped back in the right direction. He will, but major damage to the front end of the 03 machine. Devin Ray, of course, has damage as well. So we're going to have to rack him up and try it again now, as we are starting to approach kind of the final portion of this race. It's going to be within 25 laps to go when we get the green flag back in the air. But let's go back and look at this one and how it gets started here for Devin Ray, as he was on the backstretch and looks like he's on the outside. He's going to get hooked into the fence here. But was he in the middle? Does he make the move to the middle, and does that cost him here? So this is the cockpit view. He's on the outside. They start checking up. He moves to the middle, so it looks like that's where everyone's going. And man, right as he gets there, all of a sudden everybody else leaves. See guys going to the bottom, guys going to the top. Everywhere but where Devin was, that was Jared Haynes you saw in the back, by the way, in the 7. Not sure if he was going to try to jump up here and help his teammate, but again, watch what happens here. So Malik's up top. They're all trying to split him to the middle. Or maybe Malik was just trying to get up top. Maybe that's what it was. Trying to get to the outside here, Jeff Merck. So it kind of creates the illusion that everything's going to the middle. And again, I'm not sure if it was a product of the checkup or just that he saw this middle line developing, or both. But after Devin bumps Kenny Real here, he decides to go to the middle. And then now he's kind of stuck in the middle. Realizes that everybody's kind of abandoning ship, if you will. And he sees that, and he's going to try to slot back up here. Did he try to slot back up, or was there a little bit of contact that just hooked that car? Let's see here. So there's Devin. He's got maybe a brief second, starts to go down, and then starts to turn up, and just, it looks to me at least like Devin just kind of turns into the 41 of Dalton Steele. Now, Dalton may have been riding a little bit low, but I mean, he certainly gets there and establishes a lane before Devin starts to come up. And again, let's watch this part of it from the cockpit view. Watch Devin's wheel here to see if it looks like, does he just try to find a spot in line? Gets on the backstretch, gets a little loose, and then he tries to go back to the right with it. When the contact's made, and then Ken McCullough Jr. trying to check up. Like a deer in the headlights there at the end when you just can't quite make that decision. Something in your brain almost locks up just for a minute. You know, you're not sure is he going to go high, low, and for Ken's sake here, he may have saw this a little late. Yeah, he did. Now he can't see it. He can't see it. Now he can see it, and it's just, at that point, too much speed. Not really much he could do. That's a tough break for Ken McCullough Jr., who was just kind of hanging around in the back, trying to play it conservative to avoid this. Instead, gets involved in it. There's the contact for Devin Ray. Everybody else scatters. Most of them miss it. Especially Ken McCullough Jr., not one of those ones that was able to miss this one. Give you one more look at this here from the zoomed-in TV cam before we go back live. And again, I want to show you this for Ken McCullough Jr. You see Falkingham along with 23. Chris Walker, they dive low. Bam. Big hit. Big hit right there for Ken McCullough Jr. So he hops over the grass, and as we go back live now, up front, Trevor Osnoff is now being scored as your leader. Matt Lee second with Ethan Eckert third. Kenny Real back into fourth. And Mike George currently rounding out your top 5. All right, so it's going to be, looks like about a 23 lap to go restart, assuming we get the one to go signal this time. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We will be right back. Stick with us here as we continue to watch the Ruff Neck Racing boys go at it at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run! Ladies and gentlemen, we got paddles.
The monkey has pride!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time!
Oh, that's good.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway with tonight's action. The Turkey Madness 150, by the way, was the name of the race here tonight. Again, we had missed the race info due to a little bit of a behind schedule at the start of the broadcast. Won't have that issue from here on out. Just some of the growing pains once in a while that you kind of get when you're trying to set all the last-minute things up for drivers that join a little bit late. Trying to get everybody's overlays and driver cards complete. But here we go. Get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. Pace car will make the left turn. It'll be 23 laps to go here at Daytona. A lot of money on the line. Who's going to take it all home here tonight? Green flag back in the air, and it's a good restart for Trevor Osranoff. Kind of contrary to what we saw earlier, he's actually going to jump down here. We'll see if he tries to pick up Matt Lee and then go back to the high side. That's exactly what he's doing. He picks up the 04, but Matt Lee says, I don't want any part of it. Matt Lee's going to go right back down to the inside. Now the 11 of Kenny Real pushes him. Malik Ray up top. Third in line. Will he try to split the 11, jump to his outside, or will he stay tucked in line right now? Caution! And then another big hit after the caution is out on the backstretch. Multiple cars are going to scatter. The 32 is going to tag the inside wall. That's Jacob Hughes. And the struggles continue here for a lot of the field. Kyler Wynn looked a little bit slow. I'm not sure if that's just from the damage he had earlier or if he was potentially involved in this incident. Again, a caution came out before that incident that we just saw on the backstretch with somebody getting turned around. There's Jacob Hughes coming back onto the racetrack. All right, well, now this will give us a restart with inside 20 laps to go. Looking like a green flag pit stop is becoming less and less likely with each caution that we have. So here we go. There's some smoke at this point. So, okay, so there's an incident that starts way towards the back here. Looks like Chris Melton may have been one of the drivers involved here. That's what we're going to try to find first is, was Chris Melton involved? Because if he was, then that was indeed one of the cars at the center of it. Yeah, it's exactly what it is here. Watch it first from the chopper view. You got Falkingham kind of in the mix. Looks like Joshua McCullough in the 05, the 33 down there as well of John Hughes. And looks like as Melton goes through the middle, ooh, I think Melton just thought he was clear up and just wasn't. Michael Triscaro was there. And that's going to get the 49 hooked in the wall when he tries to clear himself across the nose. Yeah, I just don't think he realized that Michael Triscaro was there. And then when he goes up, see Ken McCullough Jr. get collected. Kyler Wynn's going to get hard on the brakes. Try to miss the 49, which he was able to do. So that's a good job there by Kyler to make sure he keeps himself out of that wreck. Watch it again. This is from the cockpit view from Kyler Wynn. This is a good angle here because it actually kind of shows you the way all the chaos played out right here. So he gets a restart. He's got a little bit of a run coming, and then he's going to see him just start to get out of shape, get sideways. He's on the brakes. He's on the brakes. Trying to figure out exactly where this 49 is going to slide to. Misses the 49, and then brings it to a halt. Gets it back going. Dodge to the inside of Ken McCullough Jr. So that's what brought out the caution. Now, it did take a minute for the caution to actually come out. And the reason that part of that's kind of an issue here is because, again, and I want to show you, this is when the actual caution comes out, right here. So at this point, you got the leaders racing off of turn 2 when the caution came out. It's a little bit late. It's not horrible, but it's a little bit late. And the problem, well, it's not really the problem of, race control. It's obviously not their fault here in this sake, but the problem with that for the field is that not everybody's going to get the memo that the caution's out, apparently, because they have another incident here, and this one was pretty brutal. Watch, it looks like, is that going to be the 25 of Chris Carter? I think is going to be the car that gets hooked here. He's on the inside in that view, and so watch Chris here. He's on the inside, just to his outside there. Looks like, is that the 10 machine? Yes, it is. And as they start to come off the corner here, man, it's one of these things where you can say maybe both of them are riding a little bit off of their respective lanes. I will say, for starters, I guess it looks a little bit like maybe Chris is slightly up the track, but I don't think that matters because Chris has already established that lane, right? I mean, he doesn't change his lane much. He's running that line where he's just a little bit off the yellow line for a good amount of time. Now, right here, does he drift up a little bit? Yeah, maybe, but then here he starts to move back down maybe just a little bit. And I think more so that's just the 10 starting to come down the racetrack. I think that's Greg Spiker. And again, it's not much. And I think Greg here, kind of the same argument as what we saw with that incident that happened that brought out the caution for this, where he's just trying to get clear behind Christopher Carter. And maybe that slight misjudgment is just enough to get him hooked around, or rather hooked the 25 around. Just watch right there. Yeah, I think that's exactly what Greg was trying to do. I think he was just trying to slot in line in the little bit of a gap that there was on the inside behind the 25 of Chris Carter. And, oh, man. Just didn't quite work out here. Unless I missed something, but... Well, I'll tell you what, too. There's a chance Greg may have been getting just a little bit loose. It was one of two things, maybe a combination of both. Again, we'll show you this from the TV chopper view again. He's got a little bit of a gap just behind the 25 that he can try to slot into. So either he's trying to get into that gap, or, like I said, he gets just a smidge loose. And since the 25 had already been running a little bit up the racetrack, it just sets itself up to where these two eventually run into each other. Or I guess I should say the 10 kind of runs down into the 25. And once the wreck's on from there, it's on. Show you this here from the rear chase cam. Watch Chris Carter here once he gets turned around. That's pretty cool. That's part of the reason I showed you that, is because I know the crash physics in some of these cars have been getting updated. And for Chris Carter, you don't get to see something like this in every wreck that happens. But these next-gen cars, they have an interesting system that helps keep them on the ground. Of course, you have the roof flaps and the hood flaps. And you're going to see as he gets turned around, the roof flaps deploy. So do the hood flaps. But look out back. That's that rear diffuser flap also deploying, which again helps redistribute the air to kind of keep it on the ground and also evacuate that air out the car a different way. That was a really, really interesting look, though, for Christopher Carter. I thought that was a pretty cool shot. But unfortunately here, this was not the cool part about it, is some of the hits that some of these drivers took. Saw the 10 of Greg Spiker go down the racetrack. I don't think he took a second hit after that. Still, obviously, significant damage that's going to affect his night. Potentially his opportunity to try to go out and win this race. Is one more angle from the gyro view. Let's turn around. Gonna bounce off the outside wall, and then he'll come back down. And so getting some word here in the chat that Christopher Carter was DQ'd for an incident that may have taken place after the caution. What's this about? See if we can go find out. Is he going to go up here and show a little displeasure with somebody? Or is it something different? So he's catching. And he's okay here. Trying to figure out exactly what this incident was all for. Well, I guess let's go back here first. And to the yellow flag for Chris Carter here and make sure we didn't miss anything that happened after it. Let's see. So he gets wrecked. He's going to straighten it back out. Oh! Yeah, I don't think that's it, though. That's just him trying to get the race car. He was definitely not DQ'd for that. It's a tough break for Cody. He was trying to dodge it. Continues on. He's going to go around here. And again, we got this sped up a little bit here. And then watch here. We'll keep watching. Nothing that happened the rest of this lap, I don't believe. As he's going to get to the tri-oval. Goes through. He's going to keep catching. The only other driver I would think that he could even associate with that wreck would have been Cody Nagels, but Cody obviously not hitting him intentionally here. And what's it going to be here? Goes around Nagels. Still going up. Don't see anything too egregious yet. Cody goes back by him. Oh! Chris going to give a big ram of the... Oh, man, you hate to see that. Oh, man. Boy, it has been one of these kind of nights. We have seen a lot of tempers, and Greg Spiker, I just don't really know why Chris went up and did that to him. I mean, Greg wasn't doing anything intentionally. He didn't mean it. Greg, one of the nicest stand-up guys out here, and just it's not really a cool thing to do. And definitely hate to see that again for Greg Spiker, who, after the wreck happened here, I mean, he's just riding along, going to get it fixed. That car could still continue to race. Both of them could. But instead, Chris lets the emotion get the best of him here, just cleans him out, and it's a fair disqualification, and might get parked a couple races as well for that one. As we go back live, green flag is back in the air. And we did take a little bit of an extended break right there to go over that Christopher Carter incident, but this is their first lap back under green. They didn't miss much. The first pack, though, kind of breaking away. That's more so just because we don't have all that many cars left that don't have any damage. This second group, a lot of cars, but they're trying to track them all down right now. Still 2x2 up front for the lead. Trevor Ozranoff leads the outside. On the inside, it's Kenny Reel. You've got Matt Lee, Ethan Eckert, second and third on the outside. Daniel Falkingham is there as well. The 7 of Malik Ray. He's also pinned down low. You see Chris Walker. He's got himself back in the mix. And for Chris Walker, he's got a couple of the Jack Shack teammates up here. This is all of a sudden starting to kind of turn tides from slightly early domination from Nightmare Esports to now the Jack Shack, really kind of showing everybody who's in charge. You know, all the racing that we have up front here, it's pretty organized, all things considered, and I think this back group's realizing that if they want any chance at catching up, they need to do the same, so they're going to try to get organized a little bit quicker as they now single file out, and what they need to do is make sure that these lead pushers do a good job of managing temps and tandeming down the straights. You don't want to get too hot, but you also don't want to waste time trying to switch whoever the pusher is. It's 3 really good cars leading that group. Aubrey Thompson, Joshua McCullough, and Jared Haynes, who is not on the lead lap, but still there. Teresa Spiker, she's back in this group as well. I was trying to find out exactly who else this was. Let's go back a little bit further here and show you who this was that I was looking at. See the 00 rounding out this group, I believe. Is that Tucker McClendon? Yes, it is. Good run for McClendon so far tonight, up 17 from where he started, but he's going to need some more if he wants to get himself to a payout position here tonight. Man, big wiggle from Kenny Reel. Malik Ray is not going to let off the back bumper of this 11 car because he knows that he can shove him to the front as long as Kenny Reel can hold on, but that outside is still surging. Matt Lee maybe finally needing to cool off a little bit as Matt Lee's going to give him a little bit of a break through the tri-oval. Lee now starts to gear back up for another big push. He locks back on. That's 2 Chevy Camaro kind of front bumpers, a little bit pointed on those Chevy Camaros. That's kind of the reason I mentioned it. But I mean, Chevy on Chevy seem to be pushing okay. Arguably the Ford Mustang with the easiest nose to push with, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference in iRacing. But either way, that second group, they're not catching right now. If anything, they're losing. So they're going to have to try something different. Otherwise, they're going to have to hope for a caution here with 14 laps to go. So as they stay 2x2 up front, I know we haven't had a chance to do it this race, and since we didn't get to quite go through everybody on the restart, I do want to briefly try to go through the field here real quick, just give you brief updates on how everybody's doing right now before we go back up to the front and keep it here for the rest of the way as action will continue to pick up. So here we go. Back in the back, Tony Richards, 42nd. I don't believe actually started the race, or may have had a very early technical issue. And again, retired from the race very early. Sean Corbett right now in the 41st spot, currently being scored as out of the race, as is Ambrose Kniebel, who is no longer even on the pitch. James Wagner, who got damaged. He was involved in a couple wrecks so far tonight. Looks like he is sitting in the pits. Not sure if he will return. Chase Mastretta, after that incident between himself and Kyler, has retired, as has Justin Hullings, who was involved in a couple incidents here tonight. Larry McDonald involved in that last incident. He is retired. Renee Hasp has also retired for the moment, still sitting in the pits. Jeremy Osborne in the pits. Mark Fondell's in the pits. Brian Hennings, along with Dalton Steele, are all still sitting in the pits. Michael Triscaro back out on track. He's currently sitting in the 30th spot. And for Triscaro right now, he is 12 laps down, so just out here seeing if he got enough damage repair to maybe go out and try to help a teammate. Jacob Hughes still in the pits. Christopher Carter got DQ'd after that under caution incident between himself and Greg Spiker. And so that leaves us with just 27 cars still out and running on the racetrack. Jared Haynes is 27th. As it stands right now, he is 9 laps down. Teresa Spiker also multiple laps down. She had a good night going earlier until she also got caught up in a few incidents. She sits in 26th. Devin Ray 25th for the Jack Shack. And it's Edward Fiddler back in the 24th spot. Chris Melton 23rd. And you've got John Hughes. And actually, by the way, I do want to note that Edward Fiddler, along with Devin Ray and Teresa Spiker, all in that second group, even though they are not for position right now. John Hughes is in 22nd. He's up 20 spots from where he started this race at, trying to make the most of the damage he's got. Kyler Wynn still needs to get some more of his damage repaired. Right now, he sits in 21st. And it's Greg Spiker in 20th. Good to see him at least be able to come back out on the racetrack after that under caution incident. And he's still on the lead lap, but it may not be for much longer here. He's going to have to hope that he gets a caution. Ronald Piles is in 19th. All right, Benjamin Richards says 66 is Fiedler. That was leave. Okay. All right, so Edward Fiedler, we appreciate you clearing that up. Now we'll know it for the future. Aubrey Thompson, by the way, is in 18th. You've got Ken McCullough Jr. 17th. He's had a bit of a roller coaster night. Tucker McClendon 16th, up 19 spots where he started this race at. Joshua McCullough's in 15th. Matthew Baker in 14th, and is actually the car leading that group right now. Then it's Logan York, who's up in 13th, the last car in the lead pack, and boy, they are all over the place now. Right as we get back to the front, they're still trying to get it together, and uh-oh, one in the wall. That's Jeff Merck, the 60. Got a little bit of a late block here, and that Merck is not going to be too pleased with that one, I don't think. Good save, though, by Jeff Merck to hold it together. He's going to try to drop in line here. I don't think that damage is going to cost him the pack, but it's certainly going to scrub off some speed. That might help that second group a little bit. They're about 4.7 seconds back and fading. If they're going to need something, they're going to need it soon to catch back up. So again, Kenny Reel 13th, Jeff Merckson 12th. You've got Chris Walker up here in the 11th spot, followed by Mike George 10th, Logan York 9th, Ethan Eckert in 8th with Malik Ray 7th, Vicente Guerrero 6th, Jordan Berube in 5th, Trevor Osborne 4th, with Matt Lee in 3rd, Cody Nagel 2nd, and Daniel Falkingham currently rounding out the field, and he is, of course, your leader. And after all that damage he got in that earlier incident, still able to get back to the front now, leading the pack with just 9 laps to go. And a whole bunch of money on the line. Since we had just about a full field, I think we, in total, may have came up about 4 entries short. It certainly wasn't much, whatever it was. And so let's talk just about what the payouts were here tonight, or what they were set to be. They'll be similar to this. Again, they do scale down by about 3 or 4 entries based off the actual total number of drivers that were in the field. This was based off of 45, and it was going to be 250 to first, 200 to second, 175 to third, 150 to fourth, 125 to fifth, 100 to sixth. And the pole sitter Daniel Falkingham already earned himself $25. $50 went to the driver that had the most laps led, which I think is still kind of up in the air here a little bit. I don't know, if Falkingham could lead the rest, maybe he's still got a shot at it, or maybe he's already got it, who knows. It was a $100 bonus to the halfway leader, which was claimed by Matthew Baker. And if you're interested in getting in on any of these money races for Ruff Neck Racing, make sure you check out the Discord. We do have the link in the description to the video. And so with that, we now start to set the stage for what is going to be a whole lot of craziness here at the front for these last 7 laps. A couple of lap cars still in the picture as Malik Ray split to the outside right there. Vicente Guerrero was trying to make something happen. And right now, Malik Ray knows that he's going to have to get aggressive because he really doesn't have all that many friends up here to help him anymore. Trevor Osrenoth, one of his teammates, still here. And it looks like Ethan Eckert's going to make that big move up to the top. Man, that was close. That stacked up the line a little bit. Malik thought about jumping out. Instead, he'll jump back to the middle here. The 27 who's getting cut out right there, Jordan Berube. I cannot say enough about the run that this guy has had so far here tonight. Again, from what I know of, not on any team. Boy, they went full wide just briefly. But from everything I know, Berube not on a team, but still out here running with the big dogs running at the front and a potential cash out position. Could be calling his name here in just about 6 laps time. All right, they are now going to start to get back into that single file formation that you see so much at the end of these speedway races in real life, where everybody's setting up for that one big move at the end of the race. The question will become, when does that move get made? You got some options here. I think if you're anybody that is within probably the top 5, I would say you could wait till that last lap in theory. The problem here that you got to deal with if you're a lot of this field is look at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars. That is 3 Nightmare Esports cars all lined up in a row. That's going to make it really, really tough for somebody else to just get a run on the last lap to get by all 3 of them. So I almost think that with Malik Ray being able to lock up with his teammate Trevor Osrenoth right here, they may jump to the inside here with maybe 2 laps to go instead of waiting all the way till the last second. Either way, if that's what they decide to do or something a little bit different, I wouldn't be shocked to see Logan York follow them. And then, of course, you got the 23, Chris Walker. That's another one of the Jack Shack teammates. He may go with them. And then that leaves some of the wild cards. Jordan Berube, Kenny Reel, Vicente Guerrero, who, by the way, has also had a roller coaster of a night. He is up 24 spots where he started this race at after being in a wreck early. Mike George in the 29 as well. Great run for him. Jeff Merck. And Osrenoth went to the bottom. I'm not sure what happened here for the 89, but he seems to be fading. Wow, what happened to these two? I'm really confused as to what happened. Did I miss something here? What dropped these two out of the pack so quickly here? Trevor's up top running. I wonder if he was... I'm not sure what the deal was here for Trevor. If he was having an issue or if he was just intentionally going to the back to pick somebody up. No, he had to pit here. So I wonder, did Trevor run out of fuel? That's got to be a question now. Did Trevor potentially run out of fuel here? Let's see. Looks like he stayed at speed. I wonder if he just realized that he was low on fuel. He may have been out of fuel. Or running out of fuel. I'm just not sure what happened there for Trevor, but that just seemed like a little bit of an unscheduled pit stop, especially with the front of the field and the rest of the field all still up here at full pace. Nobody has dived off the pit yet. We're coming to 3 laps to go, but man, Malik Ray, Logan York, they went right to the front, so maybe all of a sudden fuel saving is a bit of a concern. Now, if we get to the white flag, this race will be official, and if you run out of fuel, or even if they wreck, it's not going to matter. The race, I mean, we're racing it back to the checkered at that point, but 3 laps to go. You would think this is the point where you start making moves, but Logan and Malik had no problem getting right to the front. And again, part of me wonders, is that people saving fuel, or were they able to just make that move by pure will? Either way, Falkingham and Nagels now, they're on the spot to be the drivers that make the move. Falkingham's going to try to set it up. We'll see how Eckert's able to manage the run they get, if he tries to throw a block, or how they decide to go about it. But either way, here we go. Coming to 2 laps to go this time. This will be the last lap for a caution if we're going to get one. And so I would think that everybody that is still out running in this single file train is committed to making it the rest of the way on the fuel that they've got. This lead pack, by the way, goes all the way back to the 11th spot. And if you remember what we said payouts were, they stretch back to the 6th position. So over half of the drivers in this lead single file line are going to get paid money here at the end of this race. But you've got to finish in that top 6 if you want to make any profit. So here we go. You see that second group? I'll tell you what, they're catching now. Oh man, this could all of a sudden introduce a whole new thing if Baker can get there. He is 2.3 seconds back. I don't think he'll have enough time to get there, but it could be very, very close. He's got to get within 1.5 seconds, and if he could get there soon enough, he would have a massive run. Here we go. Race is on. Falkingham made the move off of 4. Was able to get help from his teammate Nagel, but now they need a little bit more. Matt Lee has not been able to get there yet, but here comes Vicente Guerrero. And the race is on. What is going to happen here when they all 4 get tanded up? Vicente right now not able to do much else besides try to get a little bit of momentum. Can he get any help behind him? Mike George will drop in line. There goes the 23 of Chris Walker down to the inside as well. And final time down the super stretch. Who's going to get back to the checkered flag first? Nagel's still pushing for all it's worth, but he doesn't have enough yet. Now the attention turns to the front. Does Malik Ray have one more opportunity to try to jump out on Logan? He gets a little bit of a wiggle. Watch out. Does that separation give this inside one more chance? Final time off at turn number 4. Here they come back to the checkered. Malik looking for a move. Not going to happen. Logan York's going to beat them all back as they wreck out back. Logan York gets the win at Daytona. In the first Wednesday night Ruff Neck Racing money race, Logan York brings it home. It wasn't the photo finish that we're used to seeing Logan win in, but he gets it done off a push from Malik. They started bobbling out back, and Logan was able to take it home by over a tenth of a second and at least a car length's worth of victory. How about that one for Logan York? It's another driver that was pretty much due for one, and you knew it was just a matter of time, and if Logan's at the front at the end, he's going to be a dangerous driver to try to get by. And Logan York, the driver out of Fort Meade, gets the job done here tonight. He's going to bring it around and burn it down in front of the virtual grandstands. Logan York here. I mean, we got to go back and look at this finish. We'll give him a minute to burn it down. Actually, as he does so, we'll take a look at your finishing results before we go back and look at that crazy finish. But again, Logan York is your race winner of the Turkey Madness 150. Malik Ray brings home second. Daniel Falkingham back in third. Ethan Eckert fourth. Cody Nagels and Matt Lee round out the final two money positions in 5th and 6th. And it's Jeff Merck back in 7th with Chris Walker in 8th. Jordan Berube in 9th. And Mike George rounds out your top 10. Vicente Guerrero back in 11th with Matthew Baker in 12th. Tucker McClendon in 13th with Joshua McCullough in 14th. And you've got Kenny Reel back in 15th. Aubrey Thompson is in 16th. And it's Ken McCullough Jr. back in the 17th spot. Trevor Ozernoth, he finishes in 18th after having to make that late unscheduled pit stop. And then rounding out your top 20 here tonight is going to be Ronald Piles in 19th. Greg Spiker in 20th. Kyler Wynn finishes 21st. And it's going to be Edward Fiedler in 22nd. Teresa Spiker 23rd. Devin Ray 24th. Jared Haynes back in 25th, but John Hughes 25th. John Hughes 26th. It was Jared Haynes in 25th. And then you've got John Hughes again 26th. Chris Melton 27th. Michael Triscaro back in 28th. Rounding out the top 30 is going to be Jacob Hughes and Dalton Steele. Brian Hennings finishes 31st. Jeremy Osborne 32nd. And it's Mark Vondell in 33rd with Chase Mistretta 34th. Larry McDonald finishes in 35th. Justin Hullings in 36th. And then you've got Reen Hasp in 37th. James Wagner back in 38th after the unfortunate breaks he got here tonight. Ambrose Kniebel finishes 39th. Sean Corbin in 40th with Christopher Carter in 41st. And then Tony Richards back in 42nd. And again, did not start the race. That may have actually been race control. Not sure if that was Tony or Benjamin Richards who's doing race control here tonight. All right, so before we go grab your top 3 for interviews here, let's go back and look at this here again from about turn 3 all the way off turn 4. Well, I'll tell you what, the Nightmare Boys, they tried on the bottom. I'm not sure if they just didn't have enough help with the third car being there or if the push on the outside was just that much better. But once Malik, I thought right here when they had this brief bobble that the inside was going to make another charge, but it just didn't happen. Malik was able to stay so locked on to Logan's bumper that just really never gave that inside a chance. And as they come off of 4 here, things started to get a little bit wobbly, a little bit shaky for this outside. But by this point, I mean, Logan's in good spot. I'm not sure if Eckert was trying to jump to the outside or just keep pushing, but him and Malik start to get a little offset. Malik's got to make a crazy save. That wasn't all that wild, I guess. It was a good save, though, nonetheless, and it keeps him in that second spot. And then you see Ethan Eckert here trying to creep down to the bottom, and at this point, nobody's lifting. And for Eckert here, he's going to try to come down, and he's not clear. I think he's trying to he's more looking out the windshield, obviously, at Malik trying to cover that move that he's making and doesn't realize Falkingham's there with the run. Eckert gets turned around, and that's the way it finishes. But for Logan York, he didn't have to worry about any of it because when he came around, he had himself a car length plus lead. That's how he gets the job done here tonight. All right. So now that we've got the finish and your results wrapped up, we are going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. All right, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Going to start first here tonight with your race winner. It's Logan York. Logan, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, Austin? I got you.
Well, man, you get the win here tonight in what was a pretty crazy race. First thing is, I mean, coming into this race tonight, was this kind of the car combo and track that you kind of expected to get a win at?
Not really. I feel like this is a lot of team games, this car and the Gen 6. I feel like it's a lot of numbers. So it was literally just me, Ethan, and Tucker there. So I didn't think we really had that huge of a chance to win, but I knew me and Ethan and Tucker worked together pretty well. So I figured there's a chance. But if there was a car combo, I would have picked last to get a win. I probably would have been this one.
Sometimes those are the best ones, one that you don't maybe necessarily expect. But I mean, at the end, especially on that final, kind of final 10 laps or so, you and Malik, you make the move to get to the front. You're leading on the last lap. What was going through your head? Did you think Malik was going to jump out at some point? Did you know there was going to be a run? How do you kind of manage all that?
I mean, yeah, obviously I thought he was going to make a move at the end. I was kind of trying to plot a plan to I guess wash up a little bit and force him below me. That way I could side draft him because Ethan was behind him. And then if he went below me, I would have gotten help from Ethan. So I think even if he made a move, I would have been in good shape because the bottom line kind of fell off. And I don't think they were going to develop that big of a run in time. But yeah, the last lap, I was waiting for the move as soon as we got there. And then fortunately I was able to push him up far enough that I got clear. I would have been screwed if I didn't, but yeah. Sorry, he pushed me. I don't know why I said I'm an idiot. I'm sorry.
Well, it all works out. You get a win here tonight. So before we let you head out to go celebrate the winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates, Tucker McClendon and Ethan Eckert. And you have a new teammate, Joshua McCullough. He's part of the team now, probably band group. I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank everyone that watches the races and makes them possible. I want to thank the team that put this together, James Wagoner, Ruff Neck Racing. Is a pretty cool race. Thank everyone that shows up to the races and makes them possible. And that's it.
Logan, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the win, and we will see you hopefully again next Wednesday.
Of course, thank you.
All right, normally that would bring us to your second place finisher, Malik Ray, but I do not see him in one of the channels. We requested his presence post-race, but we'll have to see if he hops in here or not. Either way, in the meantime, while we wait, let's get right down to your final podium finisher here tonight for Nightmare Esports. It's Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Jack, I got you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Tonight, great run overall as a team. You guys take, looks like 3 out of the 6 cash spots. But, man, at the end there, take me through a little bit because I'll tell you what, it looked like the inside was going to have a run, but it just never really developed. What did you kind of make of that last lap setup that you guys had?
Yeah, Cody and Matt, they did a good job shoving me there at the end, really all night. So it could have been easy for me to go up with Logan, go up on the outside and just try to make the move that way. But I didn't know what plan Malik had up his sleeve because I know he was going to go out for the win too. So I wanted to stay committed to the bottom because we were making it work. And I knew Cody, he was shoving me really, really well. So I wanted to keep the bottom rolling, see if we could do anything. But the problem is we had no help. We just ran out of cars on the bottom. So, and that really just killed our momentum in the first place. So it was unfortunate for that to happen. But because I wanted to try and make the bottom work and at least try to pull Cody and them along because those were guys that were pushing me the best all night long, especially Matt for sure. So it didn't work out like I hope, but we still got a podium out of it, and I believe we got most laps led. We got a pole, so we took home some good prizes tonight. So, but yeah, it was pretty good after we got wrecked out of the lead 2 nights in a row. So, but we'll take it for sure.
Yeah, some pretty good big money tonight, and then of course some of the side pot money as well, some of those extra bonuses. But another question I got for you, Daniel, before we start to kind of wrap it up is, we saw, you speaking of getting wrecked from the lead. Well, we saw that incident, and I mean, we were kind of trying to figure it out. We had an idea of what we thought it might be, but looked like on the restart, maybe Cody didn't get the best restart. Next thing, it looks like Kyler and you are together. You're up in the wall. I mean, what kind of was going on with that whole situation?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out myself. I have to go back and watch the replay. But from what I saw, I got a good enough restart where I was getting shoved from behind on the restart, before we get into the box. But once Kyler launched, I tried to launch with him, tried to grab his right rear, which I did. And then trying to pull him back, Kyler put me in the fence. Not sure what that was about. And then, yeah, we were just on our merry way, just side drafting on the bottom. And then they just all It looked like Chase just straight up wrecked Kyler from what I saw. I don't know if it was the netcode or what. I'd have to look back at the replay to make sure I know what happened, but it was just an unfortunate deal where 2 nights in a row. Last night in the heat race, we were doing a heat race last night. I got wrecked out of the lead and on a restart, and that time we got wrecked out of the lead on the restart again. So it was not a good night for being the leader, but for the last 2 nights, I should say. But yeah, I'm still kind of confused at what happened, but you're gonna get that in this big time money racing, super speedway racing, I guess. But no, overall, it was a good time. It was still fun. I'm so glad we could still come back after we had like 2.5 minutes of damage. So good old next gen damage model, you gotta say.
Yep, a good comeback to secure a pretty good finish and a pretty good payout here tonight. So hey, before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just thank y'all for broadcasting. Thanks to the group over here, Ruff Neck Racing. Want to make sure I say that right for putting this on tonight. Thanks to everyone who races. Thanks to people at Nightmare for all the help in the race. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks to everyone who watched as well. And yeah, thanks to Evans for putting it on.
Daniel, thank you for talking to us. Congrats on the 3rd place finish, and hopefully we'll see you again next Wednesday.
All right, thanks, Austin.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. We saw a whole bunch of craziness here tonight, from tempers to a bunch of wrecks to a pretty tame finish, where, of course, Logan York got the job done here tonight. Malik Ray brings home 2nd. He did not appear in any of the broadcast post-race channels, so we will not have the opportunity to interview him, unfortunately. But nonetheless, that was a fun one and a great start for the Turkey Madness 150 and Money Madness Racing Series that Ruff Neck Racing is going to be putting on. So we will be back with more next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that. So for now, make sure you stay tuned, because Ruff Neck Racing is going to be putting on some good events here over the next couple weeks. As for everybody that watched here tonight, we appreciate you watching with us. I hope that you did enjoy. I'll be back again next week. And until next time, that's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. Have a good night.